So I believe that every single one of us is here on this earth for a purpose. The smart thing to do is to try and find ways to leverage the culture in a positive way. When you know who you are, it makes it easier for you to separate yourself from what's actually going on.
That was the brilliant Cyril Awere, and we're going to hear more about his dream and his story, his contribution to young leaders in the Someday Arrival podcast. Well, welcome again to the Someday Arrival podcast. And whether you're just starting out as an emerging leader or you're an experienced and seasoned leader, an old hand, we're here to help you change lives, make a difference, and reach your own dream destination. I'm Darren Richards, and I'm delighted to have Cyril Awere with me. Welcome, Cyril. Thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Hello, Darren. How are you doing?
Much better for seeing you, sir. So just a few notes in your bio then here. So you're doing everything. I don't know, you're a bit like an octopus person. You're a leadership coach and a life
number
coach.
of hats, yes.
Many hats, yeah. You're a coach in leadership and life skills. You're a transformation consultant. I think we all need a bit of that in our lives, especially in the new year. You're a speaker. You've got your own podcast as well. We'll talk about that in a moment. And you're more recently an author. Embrace the journey, I believe. Is that right?
Correct, Darren. Yes.
I'll endeavour to do so. Tell me a bit about the book then.
Okay, so the book is really a collection of short stories, mainly of our African themes. So there's kind of different countries across Africa. And the reason why they are very, very short stories is because apparently a lot of young Africans prefer to read shorter stories because it's easier to digest.
Okay.
They're not really, these thick books don't seem to attract them very much. So I thought have these they're not like 10, 15 minutes to read each story. So it's literally that.
Perfect. It's the TikTok generation. That's the problem, isn't it?
It's a TikTok generation.
They've got the short attention span.
Very, very short. So I'd try and adapt to the market's needs, Yeah. So each story is touching on all the different areas around building a strong character, embodying a positive attitude, and just kind of believing in oneself a bit more.
And on the topic of believing, your podcast is Believe Africa. Is that right?
That's it. Yes.
So what inspired you to start? I can't imagine anyone starting a podcast. What a crazy thing to do. What inspired you to host your own podcast, especially serving the continent of Africa?
That's a good question. What led me to start it? It's a bit of an interesting one because it was part of a journey of me trying to discover my purpose. I felt that I don't know, it wasn't anything specific. I just kind of felt this attraction to see how I can help young Africans to change the narrative for the whole continent.
And it is a young continent, isn't it? The average age is in the teens, I think, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah, one of the largest, kind of youngest populations, in terms of, continent, whatever. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of hope, etc. And I thought that maybe a good way to reach out to as many young people as possible is through this podcast.
And it's doing very well. As last I saw, how many listeners do you have? Do you know, subscribers or listeners?
Oh, the podcast now has I think it's like 47,000 subscribers on YouTube.
That's incredible. And of course, free to listen to, as long as you've got an internet connection, Wi-Fi connection, and everybody. The funny thing about Africa is technology jumped a step. So people didn't really do laptops. They went straight to phones, didn't they?
Correct.
A lot of commerce is done on the phone, and a lot of obviously content consumption.
Correct. Yeah. So so it's a good channel, to connect with young people. And there's also a hunger for change, by the way, and rightly so. So yeah, the idea is that through the stories that I get to learn more about, through the discussions with my guests, they are sharing their stories. Hopefully the stories resonate. And then with that, they are building this, hope to actually take some action for a better future.
And you spend a lot of time in African nations, don't you? I know you're the founder of a consulting company as well, Liryc Consulting. You're coaching all around the world. You've got
Mm,
30 years experience across a whole range of sectors, and you're pouring that
yeah,
back into especially young leaders, helping them with leadership, helping them with their growth mindset, helping them with their belief systems. I guess that's one of the things, whether you go into a deprived community, let's say in a Western country, or whether you go into
yeah,
perhaps a slum, for want of a better word, in an African country, it
mm,
starts with a mindset. It starts with the belief, doesn't it? It's not necessarily about
correct.
the skills. It's about, do I
Absolutely.
believe? Have I ever seen modeled the
Mm,
ability to do more, grow, achieve more? And it's
yeah.
very difficult. People don't realize because you can't see it, you can't be it sometimes. And people need these, which is why it's great that you're doing a podcast because you're holding up
Mm.
examples of African success stories.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you of course have a great deal of experience across Africa as well, Darren, having worked in different countries through your work. Um, and we know that everything starts from thought. Everything starts from thought, which is why the mindset part is so critical, because that's what's going to pretty much direct, the paths of all these young people across Africa. So yeah, it's been wonderful. I've had in 2024, I did the first season in Ghana, which is where I'm originally from.
Oh, that's your heritage. Okay,
And it
great.
seemed appropriate to start from there. Much easier to start from where an environment that I'm familiar with. And that was really, really great. Had a wonderful team, in Accra. And then in 2025, I did the second season in Morocco. Morocco's story is amazing. It's so inspiring. It's one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. It's just being there and seeing the development, the changes, all the positive changes that are going on. And so, yeah, Morocco is really leading by example. Hopefully, it's inspiring other African countries to follow. Yeah, so that's the reason why the season was covered in Morocco, and that's all out on YouTube, by the way.
Check it
So
out, guys. Yeah.
check it out. Yeah, some really awesome conversations.
We met, of course, on the plane on the way back from Morocco. I
Yes,
was
we
traveling
did.
back from Sierra Leone,
Mm,
and a flight from Casablanca is where we got chatting, which is quite apt,
yes,
really, because obviously my book is called The Plane Parable, so
yes,
everything joins up nicely. So I've taken the questions today, Cyril, from the book or from the
yes,
chapters. For me, a vision is all about having a clear picture
yeah,
in your mind's eye of a
mm,
preferred destination. It might not be a perfect destination,
yeah,
but it's something you can see on the horizon that you'd like to get to, you'd like to arrive there. I was talking to
mm,
somebody today about vision boards and things. You want to be able to picture it. So, can you paint
yeah.
a picture for us of what
Mm,
your dream destination was and a bit of the journey and the road
mhm.
to get there for you to where you are today?
My dream really has always been about how can I had to focus on myself first. In order to be able to help others, I needed to make sure that I'm in a good enough place, right? So, so
Fill your
my
own
dream,
cup first, I believe, is what they say.
yeah. So my initial dream was how can I become the best possible version of myself? This was number one. Um, and then, so I would say that there's probably no specific destination, really. I think it's ongoing, actually. Um, and then following on from that would be how can I bring more good into the world, into our world, right? Um, and I think I'm very very fortunate, Darren, to be to do to be doing the work that I do because it's very much in line with I want to do. I could do my work, and I would be happy not being paid, if you like.
When you love what you do, you won't work a day in your life. That's the thing, isn't it?
Indeed,
There you
yes,
go.
that's the saying, isn't it? Yeah. So very very fortunate to be at that place, and so whether it's through my coaching or hosting a podcast, a speaking engagement or facilitating a workshop. I'm still doing my thing, if you like,
Mm, mm.
in my element. So I think I'm today I feel that I'm very blessed to be living my dream, I would
Well,
say.
that's a wonderful thing to be able to say. Was there a moment where, in the book, there's a bit of a kind of a story at the start of a little
Yeah.
plane? It's all about this analogy, this of the plane, and there's a moment where he's sort of, or he or she, the plane is I think it's genderless actually, is unsure of whether or not it can make it off the ground. Did
Yes.
it feel like a big jump from perhaps employed work to freelance or to your own
Oh,
consultancy?
big time. Absolutely. So I must admit, I started, most of my career has been consulting, actually. Yeah. Yeah, when I started working, within just a few years, I kind of moved over into the consulting space. Now that pivot was not easy,
No.
as you
Okay.
can imagine, right? Because it's totally different territory. Yeah, you're pretty much on your own, and you have to make a lot of decisions by yourself, right? So the usual, but that was good actually. It was we can call it good pain. And I think that, like we all do, we all have challenges through life, right? Different types of challenges. If you're going through life and you don't have any challenges, then there's something terribly wrong. So,
I heard on a different podcast someone say that
yeah,
problems in life are a feature, they're not a bug or an error in the programming. They are a feature of life. They're there to help
absolutely.
shape you, right?
Okay, okay, I like that too. I like that too. So yeah, I have come to acknowledge that challenges are part of life.
Mm,
Um, and even better is that challenges help us to grow.
mm,
Yeah, because we become stronger
hmm.
and wiser through the experience. So nowadays, I actually go out of my way to seek more challenges wherever I can. Because,
Do you really? So you
yeah, it's
try and
strange, huh?
stretch yourself and put yourself in
Indeed.
challenging
Yeah.
environments and situations.
Yeah. So for quite some time now, I've been having cold showers, for example,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
mornings, right? And I find that's really, really great. Yeah, it does wonders in terms of, you know, putting you in the right mental state for the day.
Yeah, I too have just
So
started doing that actually, and it's a huge. It wakes your whole
highly
system up. It's
recommend
really
it.
great. Yeah,
Yeah, highly recommend. Not to mention the health benefits, of
yeah, of
course.
course. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that all the challenges that I have experienced have been broadly good
Mm,
in the end. I now try and practice being comfortable with discomfort, if that
mm,
makes sense.
hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Um, yeah. And we live in a world where we still have people, all kinds of people that we come across. Some are not terribly nice or dishonest, ignorant.
Hmm.
This is our reality, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And if we are not built with all this strength, then we become vulnerable to all that.
yeah. You need a certain level
So
of resilience.
yeah,
Mm.
so I think that having this kind of inner strength, mental strength, it can be highly beneficial. That's definitely my takeaway from experiencing challenges.
Well, you've queued me up beautifully there for the next H, which is heart, and it's all about grit and
Yes.
resilience and the habits that you need to instill and employ.
Mm,
You've already mentioned one. You start your day with a cold shower, or perhaps the end of the
yeah.
day. Are there any other habits that you have actively added into your life that give you a greater sense of resilience that allow you to take on these challenges that you welcome so readily?
So I can tell you this story, Darren. When I went to Morocco for this season of recordings,
Mm.
I had actually not planned anything in
Okay.
terms of venue and guests, actually.
Well, the guests are great. I've listened to them. There's some great guests.
I'm not sure how many podcasts have kind of made an attempt at going to a different country to do a new season of recordings and not have these kind of arrangements in place. But that's exactly what I had done. So when I landed, I started to use my network
Hmm.
to try and see what can happen.
How long did
Because
you give yourself to find the guests, get them recorded, get everything in the can?
I think it was just a few weeks, Darren, which is really quite surprising. I mean, I think it must have been like 2, 3 weeks.
Wow,
Um,
really?
yeah, it must, divine intervention, I'm sure, as well.
Ah, very good.
So, yeah, and it all happened sort of like a domino effect. So I got in touch with my first contact, and she said, "Oh, okay, I can think of a few people that might be interested to speak on your podcast." Um, and then to cut a long story short, one of the first ones that she recommended happens to own a digital media company.
Yeah. Okay.
And without me asking him, he asked if I already have a venue for my
Oh, is that
recordings.
right? You had it volunteered.
Yeah. So he said, why don't you come around to my office and check out a few rooms, see which one you like, and then you can choose which one you want to do your recordings in. All went swimmingly well in the end. So I think what I learned from that is that we don't always have to have everything planned out to the
Yeah.
T. Sometimes going with the flow can work wonders, even better than if it had been planned out.
Yes.
Um,
So maybe the habit there is agility, the ability to be flexible, go with the
exactly.
flow, kind
Absolutely
of
right,
move with a
Darren.
certain vibe, I suppose. Any
Yeah.
other daily or weekly habits that you have that help you stay focused, stay on the path, keep achieving your goals?
I must admit, I think I've also from a spiritual perspective, I think I'm growing in
Mm.
that space. Yeah. So that helps me a lot to be spiritually
So this is like
grounded.
a daily prayer or a weekly prayer routine you have? Or,
Yeah, absolutely. Every morning. And whenever I have an opportunity, I try and meditate, even during the day.
okay.
That keeps me
Is
mentally
that the
kind of,
breathe? That's a breathing based meditation, is it?
yes, correct, correct. Yeah,
We can't underestimate. We're not just a brain on a stick, a brain on a frame. We
absolutely,
are a
Darren.
whole holistic system. And
Oh, yes.
when these challenges come, as you've spoken about, which they inevitably do, you have to know how to
Hmm.
regulate, to calm, to clear your mind,
Yeah,
to get out of the amygdala, out of the fight or flight, and bring
indeed.
clarity and things to these problems. That's great.
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah, yeah. We are spiritual beings enjoying a human experience.
yeah, it's nice.
This is my firm belief.
So okay, so what we've done heading, we've done heart and habits. What about
Yeah.
there are three that come together: hope, heard, and held, and that's about leading others. So, what lessons
Mm.
have you learned about leading others? I know that obviously one of the reasons you moved into your current coaching
Yeah.
domain was because people gravitated to you for help and
Mm.
support and a sounding board, and you found you had that gift. But what have you
Yeah.
learned? What are the secrets of leading others well? And I know that you are a leadership expert, so hopefully you'll have plenty to
Hmm.
say on this.
It's a privilege to be given the responsibility of, bringing positive change right into other people's lives. Um, And I've met some really wonderful people from different backgrounds
Mm.
and the diversity of stories that I've heard. And I've heard lots of different stories, as you can imagine. Learning about different cultures, about different parts of the world. So it's helped me to think more about myself and my place in the world. And I've also recently been reading more on philosophy. I'm
Yeah,
developing hugely interested in this subject.
well, like Stoic philosophy and Marcus Aurelius and that sort of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. There's just this. It's just also a very very interesting area, and the idea is that hopefully it will help me to think better
Mm.
and behave better as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I love the philosophers. I quote Aristotle quite a bit in my book, and
yeah,
none of these people are perfect people, obviously, but
yeah.
the wisdom. There was no internet, there weren't that many books around,
Absolutely.
but the
Mm,
wisdom that these guys had, and that they applied to
incredible,
every
isn't it?
sphere of life, and life obviously was harder, objectively harder.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what about do you find that as you move around the world, are
Mm,
the qualities and traits that young leaders and leaders in general need the
mhm.
same, or does leadership differ a lot in hot and cold cultures, for example?
Oh, that's a very good question too, Darren, because now we're touching on culture. And I always say this. There's a very famous book called Fish Can't See Water.
Okay, right.
And in this book, it talks about how national cultures can impact organizational culture, as in within the country.
Hmm.
If the general culture of the people is to be very if they are go-getters and they're prepared to take challenges, take risks,
Mm.
then we're likely to see that manifest into how organizations are run. So depending on which part of the world one is at, it's most likely that we would see that manifest into how organizations have been run. So, yeah, that's a very, very kind of interesting link there.
Do you
Um,
find African organizations, for example, are very different in their leadership style and the way they run than
yeah,
perhaps
yeah,
maybe
definitely. I mean,
European?
I think from a cultural perspective, some are more open to risk than others.
Mm.
So the African continent has so
Of
many
course, so
different
many different
layers of
cultures and
culture.
countries. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's a massive pot of different cultures. Yeah. So it's very, very difficult to say, but the smart thing to do is to try and find ways to leverage the culture in a positive way. Yeah, because there's pluses with every type of culture, isn't there? So it's a case of, in terms of what we have or who we are, how can we leverage that to bring about positive outcomes with everything that we do? And I think that's the key part, really. Yeah.
And in 2026, with AI is on every article, it feels like, and
Hmm.
every other video we watch. What are going to be the uniquely human leadership
Yes.
skills? In a world where you don't need to learn anymore because a machine can be faster and quicker and smarter than you. What are going to be the timeless leadership skills? Because I truly believe that leadership is inherently human. You can only have human leaders by definition. So,
Absolutely.
what are going to be the human leadership
Yes.
skills and skill set
Mm.
that's going to survive the next 5, 10 years, I suppose?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think leadership, as you rightly point out there, Darren, is going to be so critical. Um, and it really evolves around having, individuals with strong character, based on virtue,
Hmm.
integrity, honesty, courage, uh, empathy.
Okay.
All these are
So these are
very,
soft skills, and they are
yes,
qualities, not just skill. They're not just skills like learning to speak or learning to
indeed.
persuade. These are about character, right?
Correct, correct. I think, as you rightly point out, AI can't replace all these things, right?
No.
All these kind of personal qualities. So we have to find ways to strengthen those.
Hmm.
And I would like to think that over time we become more aware of the importance of these personal qualities and that we don't just think that AI is going to solve all our problems.
I really hope we don't reach a day where you have kind of AI line managers where you log on and it sort of asks you how what you've been up to and what you're working on, and you'd like to
Yes,
think that there's a certain level of empathy and connection that we need as human beings from our leaders, from our
absolutely.
managers,
Yeah.
that an AI, even if it knows more, even if it's technically cleverer, it
Mhm.
can't fill that void because a person can
Mhm.
only ever connect on an emotional level with another
Oh
emotive
yeah,
human,
absolutely. And
being.
yeah, and I also hear, I don't know whether you've heard this, by the way, that some organizations are using AI agents to conduct interviews, as in job
That's
interviews.
interesting. So I did a thing the other day. I had a survey.
Mm.
It was kind of like an interview, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted to talk to me about marketing. Now I'd done it a couple of times before, and I was on a phone
Mm.
conversation with a actual human being. And this time they
Right.
said we won't be phoning you. Log in, and you'll
Mm.
just be you'll be just speak. Turn on your microphone, and then
Right.
the AI will ask you questions, and it changes the next question based on your previous answer. So I'll talk
Mm.
about different types of marketing, And then the very next thing, it sort of thinks, and says, okay, great. Could you now expand on that last point that you just said? And the whole thing, the
Mm.
whole interview was conducted for an hour with an AI.
Right.
And
Oh,
at the end,
really?
in the end, it was done with me, and it was like, "Thanks so much, we're done. You can now log off." And so there wasn't a human. There wasn't a human behind it. They programmed it with the sort of information they needed, and then the AI was
Yeah.
extracting, pumping me for my experience, I suppose.
Yes.
Very, very odd. It's a
Yes.
very odd
Yes.
thing to be able to do. Not sure I
Mm.
liked it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard anyone who has been interviewed with AI saying of anything positive. I know another friend who's also experienced it. I'm not aware of anyone who said anything positive about it, by the
Yeah,
way.
and there
So,
are obviously certain you've worked across sectors. There's certainly sectors,
yes.
even if an AI could, for example, prescribe medication, the sorts of
Mm.
things you're telling your doctor, you want to say to another person. You don't want to be
Mm.
saying that into a screen, right?
Indeed.
So it's the
Indeed.
whole kind of Jurassic Park of just because you can doesn't mean you should
Mhm.
type thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And of course we there are certain points where emotion exchange needs to happen.
Hmm.
And an AI agent won't have that conscious.
That's
Um,
right. Yeah.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
if it does, it's having to fake it, I suppose. It's been taught
Yeah.
how to sound
Exactly.
caring. Again, in the
Yes.
book, The Hope, Heard, and Held is all about instilling hope, helping people
Hmm.
feel heard and seen, psychological
Yes.
space or something, and then helping them feel psychologically held and contained. Now, that might be saying no to them. It might be saying, we're not going to do that, but it's
Yeah.
okay because we're going to do this. Now, that whole process of someone feeling that you think the best of them, that you care about
Mm.
them. People don't, don't care what you know till they know you care type thing.
Yeah.
And then being able to give direction that people follow you because they trust you. You can't
Yes.
inherently have that level of trust and emotional connection with any machine.
That's the
And so
word,
that's
isn't it,
why,
Darren?
that's why leadership has to remain human, I believe.
Yeah, that's the you just mentioned that word trust. So critical.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah,
So the
yeah.
next two H's are humility and honesty. So we've talked a bit about this already,
Mm.
but this is all about the personal qualities and the character traits that you need,
Yes.
really not just
Yes.
in leadership, but over the long haul to be what I call a
Mm.
long haul leader. So you've been
Mm.
in leadership of various forms for three
Yeah,
decades.
yeah,
What have
yeah.
been the qualities that you've had to hang on to? Because you've said yourself, life does deal you up some days that
Yes.
you really wish you didn't have to go through. So,
Yeah.
what have been
Mm.
the personal qualities that you've had to hold on to and develop to
Mhm.
last the test of time, I suppose, as a leader?
Yeah, I mean, again, I continue to challenge myself to build a strong character, based on virtue and righteousness, even. I must admit, I mean, I was lucky to have parents who instilled this in me from a very young age, the
Mm,
importance of building a strong character. So, this has helped me to stay grounded through schooling and what have you. But knowing who you are and your purpose here on earth is so fundamental, and this is how one can lead a meaningful life when it's aligned with our natural talents and gifts. But I would say that I think it's generally just dealing with people, right? We are all I think someone said we are all in the people business.
mm,
Okay. So it
yeah.
doesn't matter what our job
Whatever
is.
sector you're in, that's right. Whatever business you're in, the people
Absolutely,
business.
right?
Yeah.
We are all going to have to engage with other people in some way or another.
Mm,
Um, and so having the personal qualities that is going to make it easy for one to interact with colleagues, clients, customers,
mm,
all the different types of stakeholders that we can think of that form people, is really, really critical. It's like, it's a transferable kind of
mm,
uh, quality to have in every area. So I have always tried to um, make sure that the character traits that I have is going to help me to interact with all different kinds of people in
So
the best.
you've mentioned integrity as one.
Yeah,
What
integrity is
are the?
one.
You just get list a couple of the really important traits you think that you. I know you're
Yeah,
a
well,
proponent of value based leadership.
mm, yeah, I think integrity is is definitely very, very important because that's how we build trust, right, between different people, and it's even doing the right thing when no one's looking. Um, but I would say humility is also quite important because humility tells us that we don't know everything.
Hmm.
Uh, and that is also good to seek feedback or input from others because this is how we learn. I mean, even as a facilitator, trainer myself, I am continuously learning from my delegates some through their stories. So, and I always set this expectation that, okay, I happen to have a lot of knowledge in this area, but I don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It could be
Yeah.
really naive of me to suggest that I have the answer to every question. So I think humility, just acknowledging that we are all on this ongoing learning journey,
Hmm.
is really important because once we stop learning, then I think we stop living. This
So
is
curiosity, I suppose, is a trait there. You got to stay curious. You know,
yes.
don't ever think you've made it or you know it all, or even you know enough. I'm sure that tomorrow, if you decided never to read another book, you could
Mm-hmm.
maintain your career. You could still do
Mm.
seminars and workshops,
Yeah,
but you don't.
correct.
But that's not your heart stance.
No.
You're thinking, well, I already know enough to get by, but there's
Yes.
always more to learn, and also to be
Absolutely.
open to challenge on some of the things maybe you believed 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Being willing to challenge yourself on
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
Yeah. I think empathy is also up there, definitely, because we often undermine the importance of being empathetic towards each other. I guess it's this kind of me world that we live in as well. So it makes it difficult for us to think of others as we would like for them to think of of us. So, but courage is really important too because
Yeah, of course.
yeah, we live in a very interesting times with some very strange characters popping up in
I was going to
different
say,
places.
have there been times in your journey over the 30 years where
Yeah.
you've had to have courage, you've had to have integrity, you've had to
Mm,
stand up for what you believe? Perhaps there was
yeah.
a more lucrative or easy path, and you've had to go, hang on a minute, this is not worth me compromising on who I am or compromising on my
Mm.
values. Have you had those moments?
Oh yeah, many, Darren, many. Yeah, we could spend a whole day if I was to give all the different case studies. But I think usually, um, it's but the thing with courage is that it has to come with patience, right? Because you can you can find yourself in the anger space through displaying courage.
I see.
Um,
Okay, so courage can
you see what I
come
mean?
from
A
injustice and
place of
anger and
calm?
frustration, or it can come from a patient, calm
Yes.
place where it's
Yeah.
a calm courage, I suppose.
Exactly. Exactly that. Yeah. I think that's really quite important because otherwise, it's very easy to escalate the situation and just make it worse. So having a calm approach whilst being while speaking truth
Very hard,
to
though, isn't it? If you specifically, if you are
mm,
being undermined, disrespected,
mhm.
if
Yeah.
it's some kind of personal affront,
Yeah.
prejudiced, racism, if it
Yes.
is just unfair, just plain unfair, or not true,
Hmm.
or things being said about
Hmm.
you, those sorts of things obviously evoke in us a sense of
Hmm.
injustice and sense of indignation. Staying
Exactly.
calm in your response,
That's not
taking the
easy,
higher
right?
ground is very difficult when you just want to
Not
rip them a
easy.
new one, as it were.
Absolutely that, Darren. It's not easy. And I think one other thing as well that a lot of the time we don't realize is that
Mm.
very often when people that are projecting all these kind of unpleasant behaviors, usually they are carrying something within them.
Okay, so there's
They're
empathy
not
again. And
happy.
then you've got the I don't have to agree with you, but I can
Yes.
understand that you are obviously not happy. There is all is not
Yeah.
well in your life for you to be
Correct.
behaving like this towards another human being.
Correct. Yes.
So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
helps, I suppose.
Oh, yes. A lot of, and I think a lot of the time, a lot of us don't realize that this is actually what's going on, and we
Sure.
take it personally. Yeah. That why is this person? We become so angry with ourselves. Why is this person, acting in this way towards me, etc. But actually, it's nothing. Maybe it's nothing to do with you.
Yeah, it's got
Yeah,
more
it's
to do
just
with
that
that.
person projecting their pain. In fact, I would like to call it pain within. And they are
Mm.
just expressing it, and you happen to be there,
Yeah, that's
the
right.
recipient of
You
it.
just happen to be in the way today.
Yes. So,
Or you're a
so
reminder. Sometimes it's your success. Sometimes your success is a reminder of their shortcomings or at least their frustrations. It can't just
yeah.
be, it's not always that you've done something wrong. Sometimes just by existing and finding your own way in the world, following your own
Oh yeah.
purpose, you're holding
Hmm.
up a mirror to them, and that's
Mm.
offensive to them and upsetting to
Yes.
them. And they want to pull you down a
Yes.
few pegs.
Absolutely. Absolutely that. Yeah. And I think once you so once and it also comes from knowing yourself, isn't it?
Mm.
When you know who you are, it makes it easier for you to separate yourself from what's actually going on. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and obviously your bread and butter. Obviously, the next question I'm going to ask is all about handover.
Mm.
It's the final H, and
Yes.
the phrase that there's no success unless you're succeeded, unless you have succession. True success
Yeah.
is succession, right? So, what
Yes.
do you believe about that? About how you can leave a more lasting legacy as a leader? Are
Oh, I
there are
think
there ways to
legacy.
go about doing that, and is it important?
Yeah, very, very important, Darren. I think legacies are so important, right? I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I was the benefit of my parents' legacy,
Yes.
which is around helping me to be more conscious about my character, right?
Hmm.
And that has helped me a lot through the years. So, I think we should all be asking ourselves that what kind of legacy do we want to leave?
Mm.
Uh, this is a good place to start, for us to start to ask ourselves, what does our world so desperately need today that would make our world a better place? Then the next question is what natural capabilities or skills do I possess
Mm.
that I can use to make this possible?
How does a young
Mm,
person, there are, you and I both reach out to a similar audience in terms of emerging leaders and people who are trying to make a difference, large or small,
yeah.
leave the right kind of impression on the world. How does
Mhm.
one go about finding their purpose?
Yeah, that's another good one, right? And I guess there are kind of so many different ways, but I think for me, I think it's also a spiritual thing, right? Because I believe that every single one of us is here on this earth for a purpose, and there are different models. There's a very famous Japanese. It's called Ikigai. Have you heard of this one?
Yeah, have you? Yeah.
Yeah, Ikigai is a very famous one. I think it's similar to what I was saying before. It's kind of starting from what are my natural talents and capabilities. Um, and that is probably more likely going to help me to identify what my purpose is, because we should be, we should be using our capabilities and skills to uh, to align with our purpose,
Mm.
right? So if I'm very good with painting from a very very young age, then maybe that's probably the route I want to be going down. Is how can I continue to improve in this area, so that I can use my art as a way of helping to improve on humanity. I guess that's what art generally does, isn't it? It
Yeah, it
helps
does.
us
Yeah.
better visualize, etc. So yeah, I think it will stem from one's individual skills and capabilities, and this is where it's good to have um, parents who are very conscious of this.
Hmm.
And so from childhood, you're being sort of observed, if you like,
Mm-hmm.
to see what the pattern is looking like. Um, and just yeah, using that
So
as a
if I'm gonna,
parent.
what I'll do is I'll push back a little bit on that, if I may.
Mm,
So
mm.
that's might be all well and good. So let's say you grow up in a nice middle class family, and they're
Yeah.
looking out and trying to spot what's good and giving you know, you're learning an instrument and you're playing a couple of sports and you're going to a
Mm,
decent school in a decent postcode. If we're talking
yes.
about some of these very, very difficult, very impoverished communities where literally
Yes.
they're just trying to get through the day, you know,
Mm,
when I was in Sierra
mm,
Leone, I've been fortunate to go to Africa nations a few times,
yes.
and every time I've been, and what surprised me is sometimes some things, how little some things have changed, and there are
Yes.
still the women with the container of plantains on their head or selling
Yes.
whatever it is at the side of the road. For the
Mm-hmm.
people who are just living hand to mouth, literally,
Yes.
how can
Yes.
the children of those families, do you
Mm,
think, go about finding? And I'm sure some of these guys listen to your podcast. How do they
yeah.
go about finding their purpose? Because they might be thinking, well, Cyril, that's all well and good for you. You live in a
Yes.
lovely European city now, and
Yes.
you're doing great and you're doing well. But my
Mm-hmm.
family are just struggling to survive here, and I don't even know what I'd
Mm,
be good at. I could just about go to
mm,
school type thing, or maybe I can't go to school sometimes. How does someone
yeah.
who's living in severe deprivation
Yes.
one raise their eyes for what they can to the destination that they could achieve, but secondly, how can they go about discovering their
Well,
purpose?
yeah, I think it's a very good thing, by the way, that you ask this question, and especially in that context of, being in an environment where they don't have all the things that we have in this part of the world. Um, because personal qualities are not just confined to things that we can physically do with our hands,
True.
maybe,
Yeah.
um, but it could be certain character traits that we carry.
Hmm.
As simple as that. It could be that maybe we are very, very kind.
Hmm.
Very simple one. Um, is that we feel drawn to help others in need.
Mm.
Yeah. It could be that we are uh, very good with remembering certain incidents or experiences around us. Um, Maybe we have developed an interest in some aspects about nature,
Mm.
yeah, um, and we feel drawn to exploring ways of using all the natural things that we have in this world to improve the lives of others. So these things don't necessarily need anything special or facilities or whatever, as you rightly point out, right? But it's just having this ability to see through nature and say, this is how we can use nature to improve our lives.
Mm.
Uh, or this is how we can leverage each other
Mm.
to improve in our lives. Uh, and that's equally important.
Mm.
Yeah.
In my book, I quote Elon Musk to say that you get paid in
Mm.
proportion to the problem that you solve, basically.
Yes,
And I think
correct.
that again, I think pain actually can be a huge motivator. It can either be
Absolutely.
it can crush you, and
Hmm.
you can implode, and understandably for some people what they've been through, or it can be the
Mm.
springboard. And you look at most highly successful people, or at least in the world's eyes, I suppose, maybe not fulfilled, but successful
Yeah.
financially.
Mm.
And a lot of those have not had the greatest start in life, or at least they've not come
Hmm.
from money, or some of them haven't, at least.
Sure.
And
Sure.
it could be, for them at least, it was a huge driver. They didn't use it as an excuse,
Yeah.
they used it as fuel.
Precisely that, Darren. Precisely that. We've had so many stories like that, right? Even the successful individuals, and we listen to their lives, and you think that's interesting because most of us just see the success,
You see
the
that you
outcome.
see the iceberg out the side of the water, not the bit below.
Correct.
Yeah, all of what they've
Correct.
been through.
Yes, but we don't know what they've been through. Um, and very often it's what they went through
That's
that
right.
propelled them to get to that
And
place.
prepared them as well. Not
Correct.
just propelled, but
Prepared.
prepared them. You know that
Yes, prepared them.
if you gave me $10 million tomorrow, I probably would not have $10 million at the end of the year because I don't know how to manage it and I don't know what to do with it. People
Correct.
who I know we're not just talking about finances, but people who have a lot of
Mm.
money have over time won it, lost it, won it, lost it. You know, they've
Yeah.
learned the lessons so that now if
Yeah.
they can manage a larger portfolio. And it's not, again, it's not
Absolutely.
financial. It could be any number of things: managing a large
Mm.
team. It could be running your own business. It could be
Yeah.
mastering an instrument. You know, these people
Mm.
didn't suddenly get very good overnight. They've had their
No.
ups and downs, and they've had to have that resilience that you talk about. So, what would you
Absolutely.
say to someone? And I know you must do this in your own podcast, but what would you say
Mm.
to someone now listening who perhaps things aren't going so well for them? Maybe they are still young and they are sort of wondering how on earth they're going to drag themselves out of
Yes.
everything they've already experienced. What advice would you have for them?
Well, I mean, suffering, as you pointed out earlier, Darren, suffering has always got its positives. I mean, of course, when we are in the thick of it, it's the last thing on our mind, right? It's just like, what is this positive that is coming out in the future? Um, but when we experience pain ourselves, it helps us to become more empathetic, doesn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Towards others because we have felt it. We know how exactly how it's like. And so we are in the best position to help others who are in that same position. So suffering, we don't like suffering,
No,
but what I'm learning is that suffering is actually good.
it can be useful.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, if we kind of think about it from that perspective. I mean, I give an example in terms of character traits, that is. One of the gentlemen that I interviewed on one of my podcasts, this was in Ghana, and he made it a point to make sure that he was very honest and truthful in how he interacted, engaged his clients. Actually, he was working through another company owner supporting his business. And the company owner was getting more work than he could cope with. So he said, okay, why don't you take on some of this work directly yourself, so that you can help with, meeting all the demands from the business. And what happened over time was because he had a very honest, good ethic, business ethics, to his work, he was actually getting more work coming towards him than he could handle.
It's that word trust again, isn't it? You begin to
Exactly.
curry trust and favor.
And when I was with him, his phone won't stop working, ringing. So, um, so when people say that they can't find work, the question here is that what kind of value are you bringing into the world? Because if you have something that the world needs, you should not be out of work, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it does make sense.
Yeah.
And if I hear what you're saying as well, again, maybe speaking to the young person who's not in the best of circumstances,
Yeah.
if you can at least start with how you're known. What kind of person are you known to be? Are you known to be
Exactly my point.
trustworthy and
Yes.
reliable? Are you known to be
Yeah, you don't have
caring?
to buy anything. You don't have to spend anything on
Are you
that.
known to be kind? Are you known to be someone for whom
Mhm.
you do what you have with what is in your hand, type of thing?
Yeah.
And then at the very least, you position yourself for opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. That's opportunities will start coming to you. Just become a person of value. Once you become a person of value, opportunities will come to you. You don't have to go looking for opportunities.
Yeah, and
Um,
if someone goes
yeah.
around, it's very difficult, isn't it? And I'm not judging anyone, but if they go around
Mm,
complaining and griping and moaning all the time, having
yes.
a victim mindset, that's not an
Yes.
attractive mindset. That's not going to
No.
attract business
No.
and interaction. Whereas if you go around kind, encouraging,
Mm,
honest,
yeah.
hardworking, then you're at least going to be someone who people want to
Oh, yeah.
come alongside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's everywhere, isn't it? I mean,
Oh
not
yeah,
just
yeah,
in Africa. I mean, we have somehow, I think what we have done is that in a working context, we have somehow placed certifications and academic accolades,
yes, yes,
right?
yes.
We have somehow it's like a facade, Darren, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah.
But I was actually thinking about this from a LinkedIn perspective,
Hmm.
and I was having this conversation with a HR lead recently. Is that do our LinkedIn profiles
Yes.
tell a person who we really are?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Or just
Right.
the pieces of paper that we've managed to accumulate.
Correct.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I mean, if you look at my profile on LinkedIn, it doesn't really tell you who Cyril really is, right? I
No.
mean, same thing with your profile. It won't say, it won't, the way that I know you would not necessarily be reflected in your LinkedIn profile.
And also, and the truth is as well, some people are known by one set of people in a certain way. This is integrity again.
Mm,
The word integrity comes from integer, which means whole, and it's all about being the same person, whoever you're with. It might be that
yes.
with a certain group of people, you're awful to them, and
Yeah,
you belittle them, and
yes.
maybe the people who work for you. But then when you're with
Mm.
people of power and influence, you come across as lovely,
Oh, we see that a lot, don't
and
we?
again, you get found out
Mm.
eventually.
Yeah, 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 that's very, very normal, isn't it? I mean, people treat you differently depending on who they're with, maybe.
Yeah,
You know.
it's always
Um,
if you see how people treat waiters, for example, and waitresses, if you're out for a
correct.
meal, if they're being lovely to you and then they're snapping at the help, as it were, then you
Yes.
think that's interesting. That,
That's,
there are certain people who do
that's when you
interviews in
start to
restaurant.
worry, right?
They do interviews in restaurants for that very reason to see how they treat everybody else, how they treated, or they'll go and ask their receptionist and say, "Were they
Yeah.
polite with you?"
Yes.
It's all well and good that
Oh,
you're polite with this.
I'm not even aware of that. Is that
Yeah,
how
yeah.
it's?
Well, it's all well and good that you're polite to the interviewer and the
Yeah.
CEO. I've even seen
Yeah.
a video, I think, like an advert of someone berating,
Okay.
getting there late and berating someone in the lift, and then they get there and they're all smiles, and they don't realise that the person they were yelling at or honking their horn at in the car on the way
Yes.
there is the same person that is going to interview them.
Okay.
This is why holistic.
Yes.
We have to be the same person all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we come into land, you've been very generous of your time.
Mm.
What's something you wished you'd known when you were
Mhm.
starting out? Maybe if I met you 20 years ago or 25 years ago,
Mm.
just starting out in your career, what would you
Mhm.
love to? We've done time machines and we've done drones. Let me think of a new one. So we're going to send an AI version of yourself back, okay? And they're going to log
Right.
on and they're going to
Yeah.
talk to wise Cyril.
Mm.
And what would you say to your younger self? What would you wish you'd known specifically around
Mm.
leadership?
I think in my case, I think it's my spirituality, I would say, in that I'm much, much more mature spiritually now than I was when I was much, much younger.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think that for me, that has helped me to be a lot more grounded, comfortable within myself. Yeah, it's just ticked so many boxes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just being comfortable within myself.
Hmm.
Um, that's definitely changed over the years. And then it's an ongoing journey, by the way. I think it's every
Hmm.
day gets better. Um, but that's definitely the major change, I would say, in me as a person, being more spiritually grounded.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for your time. Before I let you go, I'd love to ask you. You've said
Yeah.
things are getting better and better in lots of ways. What are you really
Mm,
excited about at the moment? What's next for you? Obviously, we'll share how people can find you and work with you. But
mm.
what's getting you excited at the moment?
Oh, I think it's just looking forward to every day, Darren, working on my goals, my coaching business, the Believe Africa podcast,
So we can find that if we want to look for Believe Africa, we can just
mhm.
search Spotify or Apple or whatever, and it's all one word, I
Yeah.
believe, isn't it? Believe Africa,
Yes. Believe
and it will
Africa.
pop up.
Yes.
And you've got a
Yeah.
lovely calming voice. I've listened to a few episodes, and
How have you?
it's a very calming. The content's good, but it's a very calming thing to
It's a very
listen to
calming
as
voice.
well. If you can
Depends
get
who's,
it.
I guess it depends who's listening, right? If you're not a calm person, it might not gel very well.
So you've got the podcast, you've got the book. Remind us
Yeah.
again of the title of the book and how we can find that.
Oh, Embrace the Journey. It's on Amazon.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you can get either a Kindle version, depending on what's your, whether you like the electronic version or the hard copy version. But yes, they're both on Amazon. You search my name and
Yeah.
you'll
And if
find
we
it.
wanted to work with you, how do we find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Oh, my website is cyrilawere.com.
You might need to spell that for those who are just listening. So Cyril is Cyril.
Cyril dot
Fantastic.
com.
When we'll find
Yeah,
that, so that makes it easy to find. And
very
again, I can put the
easy to
link in the
find.
notes.
Yes, my full name.
Wonderful. And again, you're available to help both organizations and individuals with
Indeed,
coaching,
yes.
consultancy, and especially
Yes,
stuff
and
around communication.
I'm looking forward to making what I'm trying to do, my mission this year, Darren, is to bring healing to as many people as possible
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
in my coaching. Yes. So this is my aim. So yeah, if you think that you would like for your life to be better in some way, then yeah, please do reach out. Let's have that chat. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Cyril. That was really useful, exciting,
Wonderful.
inspiring,
Really,
and
really well.
interesting. And it's been great to spend a bit. I've been my second full conversation with you. The first one wasn't recorded as it was on
That's
a
it.
plane, but this one's been just as enlightening.
Yeah,
And hopefully, people will connect with you. And I certainly intend to connect with you again in future. Thank you so much.
sure. Thank you very much, Darren.
So, thanks again for joining us for the Someday Arrival podcast. As you know, the questions are drawn from my own book, The Plain Parable, which you can get on Amazon or you can listen to as an audiobook. You can also listen now on Spotify if you have a premium account for free. So, until then, please do subscribe and share this with others so others can hear incredible guests like Cyril. And until next time, remember to make someday today.